It was an ordinary Wednesday when the signals began. Not from Mars, not from the moon, but from beyond our solar system. A distant, methodic series of pulses that caught the attention of every space monitoring agency on Earth. Dr. Helen Choi, head of SETI at the time, was the first to confirm the patterns weren't random. "Look at this," she murmured, her eyes never leaving the screen as her team gathered around. The room buzzed with a mix of excitement and anxiety. "Are you sure it's not just cosmic background noise?" asked Tim, one of the junior researchers, as he leaned in closer. "It's too structured. See here? And here? This is deliberate," Helen explained, pointing at the sequences that repeated. "This is communication." The news broke out globally within hours. As world leaders convened in emergency sessions, the scientific community waited with bated breath. Before long, a clearer, more articulate message followed the initial pulses, translated and broadcasted. "To the inhabitants of Earth, we are the Krylocks. We seek dialogue. Champions must meet for honor." General Marcus Dunn, a key military advisor to the president, was skeptical. "Dialogue? Why the need for champions? This smells of a challenge." At the UN, an emergency meeting unfolded. Helen was patched in via a secure video link, her image flickering before the assembly. "We've always hoped for contact, to not be alone in the universe. Now that it's here, it's not as we expected, but it's a monumental moment." Ambassador Liu took the floor, his tone serious. "We need to respond, but carefully. Any volunteers to represent Earth?" The room fell silent. The gravity of the situation was palpable. No one seemed eager to step forward, until a direct feed from a military base in Colorado lit up the screen. "I'll go," a firm voice said. The camera panned to reveal Jack Mason standing confidently amongst his peers. "I'm Jack Mason, former MMA champion and current tactical defense instructor. If it's a champion they want, it's a champion they'll get." General Dunn looked him over, impressed despite himself. "Do you understand what this might involve, Mason? This isn't just a bout in the ring." Jack nodded. "I understand, sir. Whatever it takes to keep Earth safe and sovereign." Ambassador Liu gave a slight nod, approving the candidature. "Very well, Mr. Mason. Prepare yourself. You carry the hopes of our planet." As the meeting adjourned, Helen felt a mixture of awe and fear. Humanity was about to embark on its greatest challenge, not just scientifically, but in how it presented itself to the cosmos. Back at the base, Jack began his preparations. His fellow soldiers clapped him on the back, offering words of encouragement. "Make us proud, Jack," they said, their faces a mixture of pride and concern. That night, Jack couldn't sleep. He stood at the base's airfield, looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there was an opponent unlike any he had faced before, but more than that, a chance to bridge two worlds, or defend one from the other. "Ready for this?" a voice came from behind. Turning, Jack found Helen, who had flown in to meet him. Her presence was a comfort. "As ready as I can ever be," Jack replied, his gaze still fixed on the heavens. "Let's hope they're ready for us." The news of the Krylocks challenge sent ripples through the global community, but the selection of Earth's representative was just beginning. In a secure military conference room, top officials from around the world convened, a virtual gathering of minds illuminated by the glow of multiple screens. General Dunn opened the meeting, his voice gruff as ever. "We have Jack Mason as a volunteer. His background is impressive. MMA champion, tactical instructor. But we need to vet this thoroughly. This isn't just about physical strength. We're talking about a representative for all of humanity." Dr. Choi chimed in from her office, the stacks of satellite data behind her a testament to the long hours she'd been working. "General, while I agree on the necessity for a comprehensive selection process, time is not on our side. The Krylocks have given us a narrow window to prepare." On the screen, a new face appeared, Dr. Rajesh Singh, a renowned anthropologist. "If I may," he interjected, "this is as much a cultural exchange as it is a physical confrontation. We need someone who not only fights but also embodies the ethos and dignity of our species." The conversation shifted as a list of potential candidates from different countries scrolled across the screen. Each was impressive. Decorated soldiers, strategic geniuses, even a few other sports champions. However, Jack's initial declaration had struck a chord. Videos of his fights played silently in the background, showcasing his prowess and strategic thinking in the ring. His last fight, a masterful display of patience and skill, ended with him helping his opponent up. a gesture of sportsmanship that was rare in the brutal world of mixed martial arts. "Look at that," pointed out Maria Gonzalez, a delegate from Spain. "It's not just his strength. He respects his opponent, even in victory. Isn't that what we want to show the universe?" The Brazilian representative, General Costa, nodded. His record speaks for itself, and he stepped forward when no one else would. That's courage. As the discussions continued, the military tacticians emphasized the need for physical readiness. The Krylox's message was clear. This will be a trial by combat. Our choice must be as much warrior as diplomat, stated Colonel Zhang, linking to Jack's military dossier. Finally, it was decided. The screens flickered as votes were cast, and one by one the global representatives signaled their approval. Jack Mason would be Earth's champion. After the meeting, Jack was summoned to a briefing room. Dr. Choi and a few military strategists were there, along with an unexpected guest, Dr. Singh. "Mr. Mason," began Dr. Singh, his voice calm and measured, "while your skills in combat are undisputed, this mission will also require a deep understanding of intercultural communication. You will not only fight, you may also need to forge an alliance, or at least mutual respect." Jack listened intently, his mind racing with the weight of the responsibility now placed on his shoulders. "I'm ready to learn whatever is necessary. Teach me about these Krylox, their culture, anything you know." Dr. Choi handed him a tablet loaded with data. "We've started translating their transmissions more fully. There's a lot we can glean about their values, their society. It's incomplete, but it's a start." As the group dispersed, Jack turned to Dr. Singh. "Doctor, I'm not just a fighter. I know the stakes are higher than any cage match. I won't let Earth down." Dr. Singh smiled slightly, reassured by Jack's determination. "I believe you won't, Mr. Mason. Let's get to work." With that, Jack's training began in earnest, not just physical but intellectual and cultural, preparing him for the most significant fight of his life. The world watched as Jack Mason was thrust into a regimen unlike any other. A comprehensive, multidisciplinary training designed to hone his body and mind for the impending duel with the Krylox champion. A makeshift training facility was established at a secluded military base, equipped with the latest technology and training resources. Jack's days began before dawn, starting with physical conditioning under the watchful eye of Major Sarah Benson, a former Olympic athlete turned military trainer. "5 more laps, Mason," she shouted across the track, her voice echoing in the brisk morning air. Jack pushed through the exhaustion, his breath visible in the cold. After physical training, his schedule shifted to tactical simulations. Lieutenant Commander Alan Richards, a veteran in strategic combat, took over. "Think of every move as a chess game, Mason. Anticipate, counter, and when necessary, strike," he instructed as they sparred in a virtual reality environment designed to mimic various combat scenarios. In the afternoons, Dr. Singh led cultural briefings. "The Krylox are a warrior race, proud and structured. Honor is paramount to them. Winning the fight is crucial, but how you win could set the tone for our relations with them," he explained, showing images of Krylox art and symbols that depicted their martial traditions. One evening, after a grueling session, Jack sat with Dr. Choi, reviewing footage of the Krylox's previous communications. Notice the emphasis on ritual and ceremony in their message. "It's not just a challenge, it's a sacred act for them," she noted, pausing the video at key moments. Jack absorbed every piece of information, aware that understanding his opponent could be just as crucial as overpowering them. His training also included sessions with psychologists to strengthen his mental resilience. Dr. Laura Chen, a specialist in high-stress environments, worked closely with him. "It's about controlling the moment, Jack. Keep your focus, manage your stress, and the physical aspect will follow," she advised during their sessions. The community around the base began to take notice, and support for Jack grew. Local schools sent letters, and military personnel volunteered their free time to assist in any way they could. The gravity of his task was immense, yet it was the community's support that often gave him strength. As the weeks progressed, Jack's skills sharpened, and his understanding deepened. One late afternoon, during a strategy meeting, General Dunn reviewed the latest surveillance data on the Krylox ship. "They're watching us as closely as we're watching them. Expect them to adapt just as we are." Jack nodded, his mind racing through various scenarios. "Then we'll just have to keep adapting, stay one step ahead." In the final week before the Krylox's arrival, a full dress rehearsal was staged. Jack faced off against multiple sparring partners in succession, each emulating a different aspect of what they anticipated from Vrock. The session was brutal, pushing him to his limits. Afterward, as he cooled down, Major Benson approached him, a slight smile breaking through her usually stern demeanor. "You've come a long way, Mason. I'd say Vrock should be worried." Jack wiped the sweat from his brow, returning the smile. "Let's hope so. I'm not just fighting for myself out there. I'm fighting for all of us." As the day of the duel approached, Jack felt a mixture of nerves and determination. He knew the eyes of the world and possibly the universe would be upon him. But more importantly, he understood that his fight was more than physical. It was a battle for the very spirit of humanity. The day the Krylock's ship entered Earth's atmosphere was one marked by a tense, anticipatory silence that blanketed the globe. News networks broadcasted live feeds of the alien vessel, a sleek, ominous structure, larger than any stadium on Earth, gliding effortlessly through the sky. The world held its breath as it descended, landing with a graceful yet formidable presence in the designated international zone, cordoned off for this historic event. Jack stood among the military escort, dressed in his combat gear, as the ramp of the ship slowly lowered with a hiss of alien hydraulics. A shiver ran down his spine, not from fear, but from the sheer magnitude of the moment. Beside him, General Dunn muttered under his breath, "Here we go." The first to emerge was not the Krylock's champion, but their ambassador, a towering figure with a stern countenance, flanked by guards. His movements were dignified, each step measured and deliberate. Following him, the Krylock's champion, Vrock, appeared at the top of the ramp. The creature was unlike any being Jack had seen, 8 feet tall, with a chiseled physique that seemed both organic and armored. His skin shimmered under the sun, a tapestry of natural armor that spoke of 1,000 battles. As Vrock descended, cameras flashed, capturing every moment. The world was finally seeing the Krylocks, not as signals on a screen or voices through a translator, but as tangible, imposing beings who had crossed the cosmos to stand on Earth. The human delegation stepped forward, led by Ambassador Liu, who greeted the Krylocks with a formal yet cautious welcome. "We receive you in peace and hope for a fruitful exchange, regardless of today's outcome," he said, his voice broadcasted live to billions listening worldwide. The Krylock's ambassador responded, his voice a deep, resonant timbre that required no microphone to carry. "We honor your courage to accept our challenge. May this trial strengthen the bonds between our species." The formalities gave way to a charged silence as Jack and Vrock sized each other up. The alien's eyes, a piercing shade of silver, held Jack's gaze with an intensity that was almost palpable. Jack maintained his composure, aware that every move, every blink, was being analyzed not just by Vrock, but by everyone watching. Dr. Choi, observing from the command center, noted, "Jack's keeping cool. That's good. He'll need that level of control in the arena." Indeed, the arena was their next destination. A colossal structure. It had been constructed in record time specifically for this event, equipped with both human and Krylock's technologies to ensure a fair and monitored trial. As Jack and Vrock entered, the crowd, a mix of human VIPs and Krylock's observers, rose in a rumble of anticipation. The referee, a neutral party from a distant, non-aligned planet, explained the rules. "No weapons. The fight continues until one yields or is unable to continue. The honor of your people rests on your shoulders." As the referee's words echoed through the arena, Jack felt the weight of his responsibility. This was no longer about him. It was about humanity, their place among the stars, and their first impression as a species capable of both strength and honor. With a final nod to his team, Jack stepped into the center of the arena, his heart steady, his resolve firmer than ever. Across from him, Vrock mirrored his stance, the setting sun casting long shadows over the battleground. The referee raised his hand, paused for the world to catch its breath, and then dropped it. "Begin." At that signal, the battle for Earth's future commenced. The clash between Jack Mason and Vrock was instantaneous, a test of strength and speed that commenced with the referee's signal. Vrock moved first, his strides covering the ground in quick bursts, showcasing his alien agility. Jack dodged a sweeping blow that hinted at the Krylock's immense power, the wind from the mist punch stirring the air around him. In the command center, Dr. Choi watched intently, her eyes flicking between Jack and the biomechanical readings on her screen. "His adrenaline is spiking, but he's maintaining control. Keep it up, Jack," she whispered, though he couldn't hear her. Back in the arena, Jack adjusted his tactics. Vrock was faster than any opponent he had ever faced, and stronger. The alien's movements were not just powerful, but also incredibly precise, each motion calculated to deliver maximum impact. Jack realized that brute strength wouldn't win this fight. He needed to be smarter. Using his agility, Jack began to maneuver around Vrock, avoiding direct confrontations of strength and instead aiming for quick, targeted strikes. His blows began to find their mark, hitting joints and other vulnerabilities in Vrock's armor-like skin. General Dunn, observing from the stands, nodded in approval. "That's it, Mason. Speed and precision." The crowd was a mix of tension and awe, the humans anxious and hopeful, the Krylocks stoically observing the performance of their champion. Each strike and dodge was met with reactions ranging from gasps to murmurs of respect. As the battle progressed, Vrock adapted. He started anticipating Jack's movements, countering with powerful grabs and trying to use his superior size to pin Jack down. During one such encounter, Jack narrowly escaped a lock that could have ended the match, rolling away and regaining his footing with a grit that drew cheers from the human spectators. In the heat of battle, Jack remembered Dr. Singh's words about the Krylocks' respect for honor and combat. This was not just a physical battle, but also a ceremonial one, vital for establishing humanity's image to the watching galaxy. Jack took a deep breath, centering himself before launching another series of attacks. This time, he mixed feints with genuine strikes, creating a pattern that Vrock found difficult to predict. The alien hesitated, a moment of uncertainty that Jack exploited to land a particularly sharp blow to Vrock's midsection. Vrock stumbled back, surprise evident in his posture, and for the first time, the alien warrior looked truly shaken. The crowd responded with a surge of noise, the human side buoyed by Jack's resilience and tactical acumen. Major Benson, watching from the sidelines, couldn't help but shout, "Keep pressing, Mason! He's not invincible!" Emboldened, Jack pressed his advantage, weaving around Vrock's slower, more powerful swings. He struck swiftly, each hit designed not just to wear down the alien physically, but to challenge him mentally, to make him doubt. The round came to an intense crescendo as Jack executed a complex combination, a blur of movement that ended with a solid kick that sent Vrock reeling. The alien warrior steadied himself, his breathing heavy, a sign of respect finally appearing in his eyes as he regarded Jack anew. As the referee signaled the end of the round, both fighters retreated to their corners, the arena buzzing with the electricity of a battle that was proving to be more evenly matched than anyone had anticipated. Jack, breathing heavily, met the eyes of his team across the arena. Their nods were full of pride and confidence, a silent reminder of what was at stake and what was still to come. The brief intermission was a critical moment for reflection and strategy adjustment. In Jack's corner, his team worked quickly to assess his condition and provide tactical advice based on the first round's observations. "Your speed is good, but don't get cocky," advised Lieutenant Commander Richards, reviewing the playback on a tablet. "Vrock's starting to read your patterns. Mix it up, throw something unexpected." Jack nodded, his breathing steady as he hydrated. "Got it. He's tough, but I can see he's not used to being on the defensive." Across the arena, Vrock received counsel from his own team, his massive frame heaving as he absorbed their instructions. The alien's side was less animated, their communication concise, reflecting a stoic demeanor. As the second round began, the audience was palpably tense, their eyes locked on the two figures in the center of the arena. Jack initiated the engagement with a bold maneuver that surprised both Vrock and the spectators. He feigned a high kick, then rolled forward, bypassing Vrock's defenses to deliver a strong punch to the alien's side. Dr. Choi, monitoring the biomechanical feedback, noticed a spike in Vrock's stress markers. "He's feeling it now. Keep pushing, Jack," she murmured, though only her team could hear. Vrock responded with a roar, a sound that resonated deeply in the human bones, a mix of frustration and renewed determination. He launched a series of powerful swings, each requiring Jack to use his full agility to dodge. The alien was adapting, his attacks becoming more varied as he incorporated more of his environment into the combat, using his surroundings to corner Jack. However, Jack's training with Dr. Singh and his understanding of Krylocks culture now played a crucial role. He remembered that Krylocks warriors respected not just strength, but cunning and bravery. Steering the fight to showcase these qualities, Jack began using more acrobatic moves, flipping and jumping to maintain his edge and display his fearlessness. The crowd reacted with cheers and gasps as Jack executed a particularly risky move, jumping off the arena wall to deliver a powerful kick. Vrock was caught off guard, the impact staggering him, a visible sign of Jack's successful adaptation to the alien's combat style. "Good, now keep him guessing," shouted Major Benson from the sidelines, her voice cutting through the roar of the crowd. Jack's strategy was working. Vrock was now visibly trying to anticipate Jack's unconventional tactics, but the element of unpredictability kept him unbalanced. Each successful hit from Jack was met with louder cheers from the human side, their spirits lifted by the sight of their champion holding his own against a formidable alien warrior. As the round drew to a close, Jack managed to land a series of well-placed strikes that seemed to sap some of Vrock's earlier vigor. The alien warrior's movements slowed, his reactions less sharp than before. When the bell rang to signal the end of the round, both fighters were breathing heavily, their respect for each other evident in their weary but determined gazes. Jack walked back to his corner with a slight nod to Vrock, acknowledging the hard-fought round. "Keep this up, and you've got him," Richards whispered to Jack as they prepared for the next round. "He's strong, but you're smarter. Let's show them what humanity can do." Jack cracked a tired but confident smile, his eyes fixed on the alien. "Let's finish this." The determination in his voice was palpable, his resolve unshaken by the ordeal. As he readied himself for what might be the final round, the sense of unity and pride from the human spectators filled the arena, a tidal wave of support that seemed to invigorate him further. The final round commenced with the air thick with anticipation. Both Jack and Vrock approached the center of the arena with a newfound respect for each other, their previous exchanges having pushed both fighters to their limits. As the round began, Vrock charged with a renewed vigor, perhaps understanding that his previous tactics were insufficient. His movements were a blur, a combination of his natural alien speed and the desperation of a warrior not used to being on the back foot. Jack, however, maintained his composure. He dodged a powerful swing and countered with a swift uppercut, a move he had been holding back for this moment. The hit landed cleanly, causing Vrock to stagger backward, his footing unsure for the first time in the match. The crowd erupted, sensing the tide had turned. Jack's team from the sidelines shouted encouragement, their voices blending into the cacophony of cheers and gasps from the spectators. "Keep the pressure, Jack," Major Benson yelled, her hands clenched in anticipation. Taking her advice to heart, Jack advanced, reading Vrock's now predictable attempts to regain control. He slipped past another wide swing and responded with a precise jab to Vrock's midsection, exploiting the alien's momentary weakness. Vrock grunted, a sound that resonated through the arena, his pain apparent. He attempted to retaliate, but his blows were slower, his earlier stamina diminished by the relentless pace and Jack's strategic targeting. Jack sensed the end was near. He increased his intensity, weaving a series of strikes that were not just physical but psychological, each one demonstrating his unwavering resolve and skill. Vrock was powerful, but he was no longer the imposing figure who had started the match. As one particular strike forced Vrock to one knee, a hush fell over the crowd. Jack paused, offering Vrock a moment, a gesture of respect to the Krylox warrior's bravery and spirit. Vrock looked up at Jack, his breathing heavy, his eyes conveying a mix of defiance and acknowledgement. Slowly, the alien warrior rose, but his stance was that of a fighter who knew he had been bested. With a nod that spoke volumes, Vrock stepped back, officially yielding the match to Jack. The referee quickly stepped in, raising Jack's hand in victory. The arena, filled with humans and Krylox alike, erupted in applause, not just for the win, but for the honor displayed by both competitors. Jack turned to Vrock, offering his hand. The alien hesitated, then took it, their handshake a powerful symbol of mutual respect and the potential for peace and understanding between their species. General Dunn, watching from the stands, felt a surge of pride. "He did it. He actually did it," he murmured, the relief and joy evident in his voice. After the match, as the arena began to clear, Jack and Vrock had a brief exchange, away from the prying cameras and microphones. "You are a worthy opponent, human," Vrock said, his voice low and gruff. "Today was a great honor." Jack nodded, feeling the weight of his victory and what it meant for Earth. "Thank you, Vrock. I hope this is the beginning of something better for us all." As they parted ways, Jack was swarmed by his team and the media, questions about his experience and future plans flying fast. Yet, through it all, his thoughts were on the broader implications of his victory, the doors it could open and the bridges it could build. The day ended with celebrations across Earth, but for Jack, the true victory was in the handshake with Vrock, a promise of a future where humanity could stand tall among the stars. The aftermath of the duel between Jack and Vrock resonated far beyond the confines of the arena. News of the human victory spread like wildfire across Earth, igniting celebrations in cities and towns worldwide. Meanwhile, the respect earned in the arena began to pave the way for diplomatic talks between Earth and the Krylox. In the days following the match, a formal delegation from the Krylox ship, led by their ambassador and including Vrock, arrived at the United Nations. The atmosphere was charged, a mix of cautious optimism and the weight of new responsibilities. Jack, as Earth's champion, was invited to attend, his presence a symbol of the bravery and strategic prowess that had turned a potential threat into an opportunity for alliance. Ambassador Liu opened the session, addressing the Assembly and the Krylox delegation with a tone of solemnity and hope. We stand at the threshold of a new era, not because we fought, but because we understood each other through that fight. Let us move forward not as victors or vanquished, but as equals and partners. The Krylox ambassador responded, his voice resonant and deep, carrying the gravity of his words. Your champion has shown great honor. We entered this duel underestimating the spirit of humanity. We will not make that mistake again. We are ready to discuss terms of peace and mutual prosperity. As negotiations commenced, Jack found himself a part of diplomatic discussions, his insights into Krylox culture and combat psychology proving invaluable. The talks extended over several days, covering topics from technology exchange to territorial rights and mutual defense pacts. Dr. Choi and Dr. Singh also played critical roles in these discussions, bridging the gap between human and Krylox understanding, ensuring that both sides appreciated the nuances of each other's customs and expectations. During a break in the negotiations, Vrock approached Jack, a slight smile on his lips, an unusual expression for the stoic warrior. I have learned much from you, Jack Mason. I would be honored to train alongside you, to learn more of your ways. Jack chuckled, clapping Vrock on the shoulder. And I from you. Let's make that happen. It's about time our peoples learn from each other, not just about war, but about all the things that make peace worthwhile. The final day of negotiations culminated in a landmark treaty. The Earth-Krylox Accord was signed amid a flurry of media flashes and applause, marking the beginning of interstellar cooperation. Jack, as a witness to the signing, felt a surge of pride. Not for his role in the fight, but for his part in forging a new path forward for humanity. After the ceremony, General Dunn met with Jack, his expression one of genuine respect. You did more than just fight out there, son. You changed the course of history for all of us. Jack looked out at the skyline from the balcony of the UN building, the setting sun casting long shadows. It was a collective effort, sir. I just played my part. As he stood there, Jack thought about the future, about the new challenges and opportunities that lay ahead. Earth was no longer isolated. It was part of a larger community of star systems. The journey would be long and filled with unknowns, but as he had shown in the arena, humanity was ready to meet these challenges head-on, with courage, intelligence, and an unyielding spirit. This was not just a new chapter for him, but for all of humanity, a new dawn marked by stars once distant, now close enough to reach.